Time for question number 4.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
My name is Dave Bradley. I teach secondary social studies in Mount Pleasant High School in Brandywine School District, and I'm also the president of the Brandywine Education Association. I'm going to ask you to imagine that you're governor, and the legislature is willing to leave it totally to you to change our current school finance system. How would you change it? Would you bring about the revaluation of properties, which in Sussex County hasn't been done since the 1970s? And thirdly, would you change the local referendum system, and if so, how?
We'll begin with Mr. Protack.
Well, Dave, let me make sure I understand. You're asking where the money's going to come from, how we can get that? Is that correct? I'm sorry, I have great eyesight but terrible hearing.
Good question. I'm asking you, how would you change the current school finance system? So not necessarily where the money will come from,
Okay.
but how you would change the system itself.
Well, as I said in my opener, I'm a proponent of having property tax reassessments. It's to base your economic fortunes on a system that hasn't been updated for, what, 25, 30 years, I think is very archaic, it's very inefficient. And what it means is you spend time every 6, 12 months, depending on how things are going, chasing referendum. In a perfect world, as governor, I'd like to be able to do away with referendum. Yes. Because your efforts should be on children and education, and not political action, good, but not referenda. That'd be like me going to investors, asking them to invest in my airline. That's ridiculous. That's too much time I don't have. But again, property reassessments, I think, can be done. Referendum just needs to go away. It's a waste of time. It doesn't do anything with local control. And I hope that answers your question, but those are two big things, because the property reassessment scares people, but we can do the reassessments but lower the tax rate so the money's pretty much the same, and we can cap the increases. And I think that would be a big answer.
Mr. Markell.
Last year, I released a report called Facing Forward, a look at Delaware's demographic future. Delaware's population is aging faster than most other states across the country because our property taxes are so low. And unfortunately, what happens is new people move into a community. If they have no tie to the community before, if their kids are already grown, they are much more likely to vote against referenda than are other people. That is a basic reality. And look at the challenges we've been having in this state already over the last few years. I live in the Red Clay School District, and we sent out a blast email to all of our supporters and friends in support of the last referendum. We were pleased it passed, and frankly, I was a little bit surprised. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. I think your question is an incredibly important one, and I'm very much open to looking at new opportunities, new ways of providing financing education. I don't have this silver bullet answer right here in front of me. I do know that there are plenty of savings opportunities within the current system. I identified some of them earlier. I talked about the buses. I talked about from coordinating purchasing alone, $15 to $25 million of saving. Energy, by coordinating energy purchasing, between $4 and $7 million. By leveraging school design and materials, more than $10 million in savings. I think we clearly have to free up the money that's being spent today and not being spent wisely, and I'm very much open to having the dialogue with all of you about how we look differently about referenda and other issues.
Mr. Carney.
I actually have some experience working on school finance issues here in Delaware. I headed up a committee a few years ago called the School Finance Reform Committee. And the first thing that we decided is that we need to keep school property tax as a base level funding for school districts across our state. It's $300 million. It's in excess of $300 million, which provides core funding for school districts in every part of our state. In addition to that, I would look at reassessment, revaluation. In fact, we had a bill several years ago in the late 1990s where we had support across our state, Newcastle County and Sussex County, that would put in a mechanism for ongoing reassessments. We need to revisit that. It wouldn't be my highest priority. My highest priorities would be to simplify the funding formulas so folks could understand that, teachers, administrators, and parents. To have additional funding for kids from disadvantaged backgrounds. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, either with a weighted student-funded formula, through reductions in class sizes where there are concentrations of children from disadvantaged backgrounds, and thirdly, providing more flexibility within the school financing system so that the principals working with teachers can make the decisions about how those resources are used in classrooms and in their individual school buildings. That's what's going to change the instruction and instructional practices in our classrooms. That's what's going to result in additional school improvement here in the schools in Delaware.
Mr. Protack, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Dave, we're telling our students to be successful in the future, they have to be innovative, and I agree. I will be, as governor, as innovative as you possibly can to do two things: provide predictability and sustainability of school funds. I'm open to any ideas that produce predictability and sustainability.
Mr. Markell.
The best chance we have of ensuring adequate funding for public education is to have a strong economy in this state. That's why I have laid out a detailed proposal to create 25,000 good, high-wage jobs throughout Delaware. And I can tell you this, my economic development plan is integrally linked with the quality of our schools. The only way we're going to have a great economy going forward is if we have great schools. That's why making sure that every student, every classroom have the resources that they need is absolutely number one on my list of priorities for the state of Delaware.
Mr. Carney.
The two things that I hear from teachers that are the most important things for them are a better compensation system, number one, and support in the classroom, time for planning and collaboration, additional support for students with special challenges. With the weighted student funding or a mechanism for accomplishing that, that will give teachers the support that they need to reach every child in their classroom.